on the 15th of February already. I don't know about you, but it's been the longest, shortest year of my life, your life, I'm sure. From last year at this time, right after my birthday and Valentine's Day, is when everything started to shift and shake up. And who would have guessed at that time last year that we would be here again, that we'd still be in this space of lockdown and masks and mandates, and now this push for vaccines. Who would have guessed? You know, for being psychic, I can honestly say that I did not foresee this. I did not see it coming down the bend, unfortunately. I wish that I had. I would have been a little more aware. So this is what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about how we are right at this moment. How do we feel? Hi, Sam. How are you? Everybody let me know who's here. I'd love that. I wish my chat would stay up. It would be really great. Thanks for being here, Sam. Love you, love you. So I think, oh, Richard, oh, I love this. You know, this is what's going to be really fun. And Sheila, the writing I got today from the Arcturians, I kind of segue for a second that I got to, I instantly cued in as they were talking with me about our group. Hi, Elena. You guys are giving me all goosebumps. Reporting to Space Command. I love this. I seriously saw our group as this interconnect. I'm getting goosebumps to my ankles right now. An interconnected loop or grid around the planet that we have all known each other's actually many times, even though we haven't all met in this life. And I have a sense that the image that I had gotten the other day was of Robin Hood and his merry band of, well, I don't call them thieves, but people who were trying to shift the status quo. And that's who we are. That's who we are. We are here to shift the status quo. So to do that, how do we feel? Where are our emotions? How are you resting right now? Because right now, of course, the only true virus out there is fear. Yeah, we do have a virus that was generated and put out into the population, into the public, for a big global elite plan. Absolutely, it's true. Yeah, I love Robin Hood too. One of my favorite movies with that guy. I love that guy. Alan Rickman as King John. Brilliant, brilliant. Love that actor. He is fantastic. So the virus is real, and yet it's not real. The thought of getting a vaccine absolutely curls my toes. If you've done enough research on it, even the ones they Roto-Rooter up your nose gives you nanobites, nanoparticles in your brain. Not good. I mean, there's definitely a very devious, nefarious planet at work. However, that's why we've all chosen to be here right now and to connect in. We don't have to have a lot of people. I think that's the key, to recognize that we have the power to change things. Yes, all of us connected. We can't do it individually. We need each other for this, and that's why we link up, which is really great. Tracy, fabulous to have you here. I have to share, Tracy had her dad today had some issues physically, so we were all sending him lots of good energy. So glad to see you made it, Tracy. That's really good. Speaking of, before we go into things deeper, I wanted to share something that I think is really important right now. Upfront update. 3 new cases for the first in 9 months, and the country goes into lockdown, but back out tomorrow. I mean, this is crazy. It is a virus. It is just a virus. We need herd immunity. Thanks, Richard, for sharing that. It's just insane. It is. Of course, we have no heart attacks anymore, cancer, or any. A grid meditation. Okay, Sheila, we're going to do that. There is no cancer. There's nothing else, right? There's just this silly virus. We had 3 people in our county. I'm in Deschutes County in Central Oregon. 3 people, and they locked the whole county down. We've been locked down for 3 months. I mean, for 3 people. My mom can have a knee surgery. She can't walk because her knee is totally blown out, but they won't allow her to have surgery because there were 3 people. So anyway, things you can do to feel better, to keep your health up, besides vitamins and exercise and good food and sleep and having fun. I am a believer in always having, it doesn't have to be this brand, it just happens to be an organic line I have at the moment, but lemongrass and peppermint. And the reason I say to keep these in your arsenals, again, feeling good, keeping our health strong and vibrant. Lemongrass is something that you can drink. You can get lemongrass tea, but lemongrass is also incredibly good for your lymphatics. So if you put lemongrass, for example, right here on the top, right there. Those are your lymphatic points, and then you can go as far as your arms go down and then bring them forward to here and just kind of massage that lemongrass into your body. It will help loosen up the lymphatic glands to keep everything moving, right? The lymphatic system. And it also helps ward off viruses. Lemon is also an antiviral, antibacterial, so you get lemon essential oil. Drink lemongrass tea, lemon water. The other thing about peppermint to have, again, I always have it in my arsenal for a multitude of purposes. One is if you have somebody in the family that tends to, have achy muscles, it's a great thing for rubbing into your muscles. It's also a great thing for indigestion. You can put it, hi Chrissy, you can put it on your tongue, rub it over your stomach. That helps with indigestion. And it's also something you can put right here on your bronchioles for breathing. So if anybody does get the flu, these are great things to have on hand. It's just great to have on hand anyway, just to keep your health up and strong. Now, this is something that is new to me. Doesn't have to be, again, this brand. Oh, good. Thank you, Tracy. I love hearing that. I'd given her some suggestions on things for her dad's health today. This happens to be from a company called Live Longer Labs. They are out of Colorado. Guy who helped create this is a guy from NASA, and this is C60 oil. C60 oil is supposed to be good for a multitude of things. However, for me, the big thing on this, and again, it doesn't have to be this brand. There are many brands out there. You want to get it as pure as possible, not a lot of additives, is that it's a great anti-inflammatory. And every one of us has inflammation, unfortunately, in our bodies, from our foods to the chemicals in our water to the chemicals in the chemtrails to our emotions that creates toxins in our body, and then inflammation. If we are irritated, we get inflammation. So C60 is one of the things that you can add into your regimen. I'll be straight up honest though, this is not cheap. This little bottle, God, what was this bottle? I bought some of the pills and they were $80, and I think this particular bottle, because I bought it in a threesome pack, brought the price down to like $40 or $50. But you don't need but a couple drops, so it will go a long way. Again, you can look it up, but C60 I would recommend. I recommend things that I have found to be very beneficial in my life and things that I have personally tried. So I would put that out to all of you. Then, of course, we had to do the cards this week. This is fun. And, I mean, I have so much fun with this because my thoughts were going on what we were going to talk about tonight. And then everything, of course, is very synchronistic and everything lines up like magic. I pulled cards right before I turned this on, and this one happens. Oh, I need my glasses, sorry. One of the bonuses of staying young, right? This is Stitch Tight in Serpentine. It's another green and purple stone. Can you see? It's really gorgeous. So something to think about if you ever want to add into your repertoire of stones. Stitch Tight in Serpentine. It's for meditation, which we could all use, right? Clearing your energy centers. I think right now more than ever we need to clean our energy centers on a regular basis. And I will show you how to do that in a minute. And detoxifying your thoughts. Oh, wouldn't that be the best? Because our heads are probably spinning all the time. Again, we're getting inundated with all the nonsense. Let me turn this down just a little bit. Sorry, my light. Give you light, but makes my glasses get rings. But detoxifying our thoughts is one of the best things we can do for ourselves. So one of the things you could do, sorry, I got tickled, is to go out and sit under a tree, take a walk in nature, take a long hot bath, take your mind down to zero and just let it do the Om thing. I've shared with you the solfeggio musical notes before. That's another thing you can do to clear your thoughts. So very, very important. Clearing your energy centers before I read this. Okay, I've shown you this before. It's always a good reminder because guess what? We forget. Chakras, right? Crown, third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, between your hips, and then the perineum. Okay? What you can do if you feel blocked is take your left hand and go counterclockwise over a particular chakra. I'll use my throat as an example. So you go counterclockwise, which to you, not as if you were somebody else, counterclockwise, and then pull energy out, grab it with love and light, and let it go out into the universe with love and light. Clear it out, and then, and this is really good because of communication right now, right? We're still in Mercury in retrograde, so this is time to really re-look at how we communicate, how we do things, what's important, what's not important. So then you take your right hand, go over that chakra. Don't go fast, not a good idea. Go slowly over that, spin that energy in a positive direction, in a clockwise direction. Oh, that's counterclockwise. Clockwise direction for me. Sorry, I'm looking at that. Clockwise direction, spin that chakra, feel the energy move through that chakra, clear it out, see the light go extended into the future, into the past, clear it all out, all time, all space. And that will start clearing out the energy centers and keeping our bodies clear. Very important. Okay, so this is, I didn't even see what this said when I started writing down what I wanted to do for tonight. So it's kind of fun. How, once again, it's all synchronistic. So that's really important. So once you get that energy center, those energy centers cleared, you want to make sure you're always in your boundary of light. I know I talk about this regularly, but it is something that is necessary because this alignment is what is going to make the difference. If we're out of alignment, we're over here when we need to be right here, then what we are projecting and what we are doing is not in a positive alignment. We have to be so clear, so focused right now like never before. So it's so important to stay in this alignment of light, directed to divine consciousness and grounded to Gaia. Now, I've talked about this before, but I am going to bring it up again, and that is Abraham Hicks, if you've ever listened to them speak, because it is definitely, you know, when Esther does her channeling, Esther always talks about connecting into divine source and grounding in, and I don't disagree with that. And at the same time, I feel that our energies, our physical bodies, not necessarily our spiritual bodies, but need to be grounded to earth right now because she is in this trajectory of moving out. She's already moved out, but out of third dimensional into the fourth dimensional frequencies, and we need to stay with her. So grounding into her actually aligns all of us up at light speed. So very important to stay grounded, get outside in nature, okay? In your circle of light, connected, clear that energy out, grab it, love it, let it go. Same with your chakras, clear them out, love them, let it go. We want to keep releasing, and then if you need to, that's when lemongrass is very good to pull out, put over your chakras, clear them out because it adds in that detoxifying energy. That's what lemongrass is really good for. So little things you can do on a regular basis, because right now the day, every day of our lives, even though it feels like our days are about, I don't know about you, I've been talking about this for 30 years, and each year the days get shorter, the years get shorter, and I'm thinking that we are down to, I'll give us 10, 11 hours maybe in a day in comparison to what it used to be. I mean, think about it. How did it get to be the 15th of February already? So think about that. Every single day is so important, and that's why in your alignment every day, when you wake up, as you go to sleep, when you go to the bathroom, when you're sitting in line, when you're at a stoplight, make sure you are in alignment and focus, because if we all do this in unison, this is how we change our trajectory of where we are headed. Because right now, if we look outside the door and look at the news and all the stuff that's being presented out there, it's pretty chaotic and pretty nuts. So all the more reason we have to stay really centered. So let's see what Stitch Tight in Serpentine has to say. Oh, this is interesting. This is so good. Fear and negative thoughts are preventing us, I'm going to put it into us instead of you, from experiencing peace in our lives. You think? That's pretty accurate. They are blocking our creativity, and as a consequence, our lives seem dull and dreary. Did they know when they wrote this that we would be locked down and in our houses? Couldn't go out for dinner, at least here in communist Oregon. You can change this situation by consciously choosing to love and trust the universe instead of fearing it. Okay, we are totally in, right? We are totally in. Sit quietly in meditation and invoke the healing power of love, imagining yourself bathed in beautiful healing energies. Visualize all the colors of the rainbow swirling within and around you. Feel these beautiful healing colors flowing through your mind and heart, and imagine your thoughts being infused with eternal light. I love this. Practice this every day as it will help transform your negative and fearful thoughts to positive inspirations. I think we all need that right now. And even though if you feel like you're doing pretty well overall, it's still pretty hectic out there in the political agenda and actually and in the global arena. It doesn't matter where we look, from Myanmar to France to Italy to New Zealand to here, from New York, Crazyville, to Minneapolis where Sam is, Chrissy's in Georgia. I don't know if Tina's with us tonight from Ontario, right? There are lots of things going on. So staying in that space is so important. I want us to all eventually, in our minds, get in the habit of staying in that light and then sending projections from us to the other people on our little bandy group of light workers and connecting our grids. Okay, I think this is really a great idea, and I'll explain that more. We talked about it before, but I'm going to go into it a little more depth tonight. Now, this is what's really cool, too. I pulled from my very favorite deck, Sacred Rebels, because I'm the Queen of Rebels, and this is Alana Fairchild, great stuff. And tonight's card is Seeing the True You. Now, I won't read through all of this. However, what it talks about is, and it's so absolutely true, so many people, we have a lot of shamers and blamers that are on the planet right now, and they're telling us what to think, what to do, what not to do, and if you disagree with them, they're really good at that, and so they're projecting their imagery onto us, and it could be through work, it could be through social media, it could be in text, it could be whatever, right? So the key is to recognize the only truth is you, me, ourselves, connection to source. That's the only truth. And that we are not giving ourselves enough credit for really standing up to be who we are and literally being the superheroes of our own lives. I think this is really important. So I love this card. I just thought this was so perfect. Seeing the True You. So that is your other homework, Seeing the True You. Now, on another note, this is really kind of fun. I would recommend, if you haven't seen this, hold on a second. I've got to pull it up here. And it's called The Map of Spirituality. It's a mastermind group, basically. And they talk about all the different dimensions, and they go into all the different emotions. And I would love, if you guys popped in on the chat, if you could share what are the emotions you have been experiencing or feeling currently. Is it, like for me, it's frustration. I get a little frustrated. I'm not in fear at all. Anger, no. Sadness, no. Think about it, you guys, though. And then courage, pride, I'm going to read through. Anger, what's interesting about anger? Anger actually, I've talked about this one for years, is actually a catalyst. Anger doesn't have to be a negative at all, because it can move us and propel us forward into the next best step, because it gives you fuel to take action. And so if you channel your fuel in a positive mindset, anger can be used and utilized very, very wisely. And then I'm going to go up the list. And then I'd love to see, or have you guys share where you are on all of this. Okay, bottom, not a surprise. The bottom of the barrel is shame. And I have encountered so many people that are like this, shaming others. And in knowing this, that shame is literally at the bottom of our emotional scale, it helps me, it can help you turn that shame into compassion for them, so that when that moment arrives in your life, you can shift it and turn it around into projecting to them the compassion that they need for, the reasons that they're doing these things. So shame is at the bottom. And then the next one's guilt. Well, I don't know about you, but I have done so many readings with people from throughout eternity here, literally over the last 5,000 years in my readings. And so much of it goes back to religious ideology that has been perpetrated in a certain belief system and mindset on the peoples throughout the centuries, and because of that, through that reincarnational cycle, that guilt has been perpetuated to not only our specific lifetimes, but also in the bloodlines and the families that then perpetuate that guilt. If you don't do this, that guilt becomes really heavy in the Jewish tradition as well as in the Catholic faith, very heavy in guilt, and that is truly at the bottom of the emotional barrel. Not a good thing. So these are things, when we talked about emotional clearings, we need to clear those things out. I'm putting these out to you so that you can think about where you are in that emotional spectrum. The next one up is despair. I'm feeling the room. I'm not feeling any despair from any of you, which is a good thing. Grief. Now, grief is an interesting emotion that we set up for ourselves on this planet to experience. Learning how to move through grief in a way that is more quick. I was going to say quicker, quickly, quick. It really has to be quick, because what it is sorry, that I just lost it. The grief can keep you stuck, and it keeps you stuck in the past. And learning how to realize that there is no death, that there is no loss, it's just a transition. When we learn that, we transition much more quickly. So that I think is very important. And then we move up to fear. Okay, again, that is, and this energy feeling is at the frequency of 100. We're always talking about frequency and raising our frequencies. So if you are vibrating in any way, shape, or form, literally shape or form, with fear, you are vibrating at 100 on a scale of 1 to 1,000. That is really low. And so really check in with your emotions and find out if you are dealing with any kind of fear, why, where, how, so you can shift it, and how to start focusing on the positive of that fear and neutralizing it and moving it into courage. Okay, because that's really what we're dealing with right now, is this propagation of fear around the world, and so many people have consumed the Kool-Aid. We all know where the Kool-Aid concept comes in. I hope that goes back to Jonestown, when all those people died. I just lost his name. Is it James? Jonestown, right? You guys help me with this. I'm just segueing it for a second. What's very interesting is that I think CIA came in and actually helped kill a lot of those people. I think that the Jonestown massacre was not what it was presented. I think there's a much bigger hidden story, and maybe one day it'll come out. I don't think what we've been told is the truth. But anyway, just a side step. Okay, so then we have up from fear, we move up to 125 to desire. Now, what's interesting about desire we can think of it as a positive. What do you desire? What do you want to create? What do you want to manifest in your life? Yeah, creepy guy. No kidding. He is definitely that. Jim Jones, that's his name. Couldn't think of his name. Like I said, it was just kind of a dropped in my head thing. Is that if you think about this, desire has been put into an interesting category, especially in the New Age vernacular. Desire. What is it that you really desire? Well, if you think back to the underpinnings of it, desire does have kind of that shady side. Desire of more money, desire of sex, desire of someone else, coveting somebody else. So desire is an interesting frequency. So we want to move above desire because it vibrates, what did I say? At 125. Actually, anger is above desire. Who would have guessed that? Because again, we always think of it as desire as a positive, but it's actually vibrates lower. So then we move up into anger, and then above that is pride. Pride's 175. And I think we have a lot of people right now that are also incredibly prideful over the election in the United States and thinking that they won and blah, blah, blah. So you're feeling a lot of that. So we've got fear down below us at 100, and then the pride's coming in, which if you're prideful, sometimes it can be a very positive. Says you won't get it. Yeah, exactly. And so we want to look at these and take the shadow out of these emotions and bring them into the positive. So if you could do that with pride, being proud of what you do, being proud of what you have accomplished, and yet with a place and in a place of balance. Above that is courage. Courage is at 200. So this is putting us up on a higher frequency, which is really fantastic. I have watched different shows that say that humans average at about 200 frequency, which is not too bad, but we want to raise our frequencies much higher. So courage is a necessary part right now in terms of where we are globally, taking courage to step into things, stepping into taking that next step to become involved, become engaged in life, having the courage to step out of fear, to do something about the nonsense that is being perpetrated. So put that into your repertoire. Bring courage in. The next, you got to see that if you saw what I was looking at, my phone, it's really, really tiny. And then the next thing up is neutrality. Neutrality is at 250, and that is moving us up, which is really good. It's taking us up out of the third dimensional frequencies, the 3D expressions, and moving us up into the fourth dimension. So when we start moving into neutral, that you're neutral about things, that it doesn't mean you don't have an opinion, but being neutral on it and trusting the situation for what it is, trusting that we are focused on the positive result, then we have already moved into that fourth dimensional frequency and moved it into a place of, okay, we can do this. We've got this. The next one above that is optimism at 310 frequency. Optimism is just, I think, absolutely fantastic. I mean, we're not at the 1,000 level yet, but being optimistic about where we are on the planet and what we can accomplish and what we can do, and not be sucked down into that fear porn that's being presented all the time. The fear porn that's being presented right now is being perpetrated, of course, as we all know, by the dark element around the planet, the media. It's being perpetrated by the Illuminati, the Cabal. I know I took a deep breath. Can I say these words? Because everything is so censored these days. But if we can rise above that and move into this optimistic and then accepted frequency, we are hanging out in the fourth dimension. We have literally raised our frequencies so that the colors around us become brighter. They become more illuminated. Okay, so really think about, if you're starting to segue on any of these emotions over to the shadow, bring it back to the light and to the balance of neutral, going, okay, I'm going to get into that neutral space, and then you move it up into optimism. And then up there is at 350 is acceptance, and that we accept where we are, where the space is. As an example, imagine that your little space, your little environment in which we've all been stuck in, you know, in our homes, is the whole universe. And when we think about it that way, that everything is an opportunity, even within our own little cubicles, we have moved into a higher frequency. We have moved into a higher vibration. Again, what it does is it sends out that energy field, and the colors become brighter. Everything starts to align more easily. I'm trying to come up with the right word. So I love this. And when we do that, guess what, folks? The inner light within ourselves starts to radiate and shine. That inner light of who we are. So as we move up the totem pole through courage and neutrality to optimism and acceptance, we move into inner light. Oh, I love our group too, Sheila. Thank you so much for that. I so appreciate that. I love everybody. It's just fabulous. And the connection is really good. Again, we're going to get into that too, because I want to really take it to the next level. But it's all up to you guys and me to make it happen. Okay, and I'll explain it. But I'm going to get through this first. So now we're into our inner light, and we're sharing our inner light, and we're spreading it out to the world, which is pretty fantastic. I mean, think about that. Radiating your light. I have to share a separate story around this. Sam and I did this a little bit big, exactly. Well, we're very big. Sam and I know I've talked about this before, but this is really cool because it's about sharing your light. We did this, these little images. I know I've shared this before, but this corresponds to this. These little images, these little avatars of ourselves. And Sam, I don't know if you could take a picture and put it on the, I don't know how this works. If he could share his, it's very cool. And I look up at that because to me it's sharing a part of who I am, and it reminds me of this archetype within myself. So we're shining our light. So if you could come up with these different archetypes within yourself, different characters, and you start, if you have a moment, pull those up within your mind, it actually helps you shine your light more brightly. It just does. When I was skiing this last week, I visualized, I don't know if you can see this, again, and I actually have, let's see right there, there's a crystal ball, and then this is my crystal staff. I have several crystal balls over on my shelf over there, but while I was skiing, I was cold sitting on the chairlift, and so to keep my mind, you know, active and keep my body warm as I was going, I visualized the staff in my hand and the ball in my hand, and I could feel it course through my body, that energy, and that avatar just came into my mind. So my invitation to you is to do these things to generate that inner light within yourself. Personally, I feel the more we are creative and colorful with our minds and our imagination, the more readily we are able to create the things that we desire, that we want as well. I see desire. Isn't that interesting? It's programmed into my thinking. I got to change that from this. And then expand our avatars of who we are within ourselves so that we can be all that we came to be. Now, I'm going to segue for just a second. Imagine ourselves. Sheila and I were talking about this yesterday. Imagine if we've never had a vaccine. Imagine if we've never had any chemicals in our foods. It's a great way to define yourself. Exactly. I agree with that, Sam. Again, I hero forge on that. So imagine if we've never had any kind of chemicals in our system. No vaccines, no medications, no nanotechnology in the chemtrails, no chemicals in our food from Monsanto. I mean, on and on. Imagine if we were just who we were when we were born, how amazing we would be. We would be the avatars that we imagine ourselves to be. So my invitation to you is to, as you go to sleep, imagine your DNA activated at the level of higher frequency of when you were born, without all the extra stuff. Okay, because again, this is about raising our vibration. So as you go to sleep, because it's such a great time to do things, to set the attention for the night, because what that does is that opens up, again, that inner light to shine. And again, that keeps us takes us right into, let's see, inner love, inner wisdom. Inner light is right at that fourth dimension, moving into the fifth dimension, which is really great. So think about that. Is if we were clean and we just visualized our DNA just 100% as pure human consciousness. Oh, the potential and the possibilities is so exciting, so exciting. So then we go from inner light to inner wisdom, and inner wisdom to inner love, which is right at 500 frequency. Okay, that's new humanity consciousness and fifth dimension. Okay, moving up that scale. So again, when we move into that inner light, we are glowing, we are sharing that, and then we go into the inner wisdom of understanding, knowing, and trusting who we are, trusting the universe, trusting those in our group, right? Trusting the wherewithal, that alignment that we have with the greater expression. Then we have actually moved into that fifth dimensional frequency, and that's truly when you can look outside and things are very bright and colorful. From inner love and inner wisdom, we move to, inner light, inner wisdom, we move to inner love, meaning that we feel really good about who we are. We love who we are. We love every single day. Every day is a gift. Even if, I got to share a story, even if you end up stepping in poop in your own house, my old dog, I had one light on last night, and I was watching a happy show, and I heard him rustle, and I got over to help him because he's blind, and I have to help, and I stepped right in poop because he can't control himself. So even in those moments that you're not completely happy, you can still move into that inner love of who he is, and the inner love, and that joy of being in connection with the world. So then from inner love, we go into oneness with the universe, which is self-realization, and in definitely fifth dimensional frequency. Now, above that, we go into, and I will kind of skip through these quickly, we go into oneness, presence, non-duality, which is what we're really working on, which is a challenge because we have chosen to be in the earth plane on purpose to understand the polarities, to understand the dualities of where things are. Not an easy task to move out of that until we really come into this space that everything is perfect exactly the way it is, which I can do from time to time, and more times than not, until I read something, then I'm lost again. But moving into that non-duality of just all is present right now. And then above that, we have universal consciousness, the great void, divine grace and love union, super causal truth, and full consciousness. That's up in the upper dimensional realms, up into the 12th dimension. So If we can move out of 3D into fourth and into the fifth dimension, which again is inner light, inner wisdom, inner love, and oneness and presence, I mean, how fantastic is this? So that is my invitation and homework for you. Use this wonderful card of wonderful stone rather of stitch-tight and serpentine. Put that into your consciousness. Remember the purple and the green and think about that. The colors alone activate your third eye and your heart center, connecting those two, which is really good. And this truly helps clear out the energy centers and detoxify your thoughts. So if your thoughts get negative, imagine putting this stone on your third eye and over your heart just to clear it out. Just go boom, done, let it go. Boom, done, let it go, let it go. So I would love it if any of you want to share where your frequencies have been, or excuse me, your emotions have been. And yeah, he's a creepy guy, like our group. A little big, I'll try. And it is a great way to define it. So any feelings of anybody? Like I said, mine have been when I stepped in poop in my own house. Fortunately, I did have my tennis shoes on. It was frustration, right? And you have to just let this stuff go, let it go, let it go. So now, here's the next segue from our own emotions. Think about where we are as a planet. We have probably never been as united in some ways as we have, because we're all under this umbrella of a pandemic. And it has united us. It's brought together, Tina, if she were here, anger. Okay, I get that one. So again, Yelena, that's fuel. That's absolutely fuel. Thank you for sharing, because again, anger actually is at 150, but it can move you forward. You can use it as a catalyst. And then plenty of frustration, getting really good at moving up and over it quicker every day. This is fantastic. You guys, thanks for sharing. Before I go into my next segue, keep sharing. This is really good, because that's what we need to do, is move through it. Recognizing it is huge. When you look in the mirror going, okay, how am I feeling today? Where am I? How am I sitting with this? What do I want to do with it? Frustration, but optimistic. Good. Good. Moving through it, okay? And I don't know, they didn't talk about frustration in this particular graph, and I don't know where it is or where it lands on that frequency level. I don't know. I would put it probably around the anger, which is at 150? Yeah, anger's 150. Because frustration is one of those. You're not angry, but you're frustrated. It's one of those. So, very interesting. I work retail sales. Many are frustrated, as I'm sure you are, having to wear a mask. If this is not insane. Now, let's put this into our visualization, our frequency patterns. I don't know if you remember me reading this, but the communication with the Arcturians said that should lift by June. A friend of mine said, well, why do we have to wait till June? I go, because there are so many layers of this pandemic. Convo, super positive laugh seems to work. Good for you. Good for you. That's fantastic. Do I want to wait till June to have to wear a mask? Hell no. And yet I have people, friends of my kids, that are already talking about, well, next August when we get together, let's stay 6 feet away and all this other nonsense. Exercise, I'm sorting paperwork and purging to move through it. Good, concentrating what I have to learn during the time of patience. That's fantastic, Sheila. That is a great example of how to work through this. So, with that, it's good stuff, right? Good stuff. Well, anyway, with the frustration, like I said, the Arcturians said that it would be June when things were going to open up. Now, again, anytime timelines or specific dates come up, I always get a little squishy anymore, because time and the timelines are shifting every single day. Every single day. Every single day. I mean, as an example on the timelines, before I get into this next section. It's very fascinating, all the stories that go around and all the lies and the nonsense and truths, trying to find your way through it. That there is a storyline out there on the web, I don't know if you're aware of this, that JFK, not Junior, yes it is, humor is the best thing, laugh, 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 and I even have a dark sense of humor, is that JFK Sr. was not actually killed, and that he's alive, and that he just recently died. He would have been 104, and I'm thinking, I'm not buying this. However, one thing I've learned is never say never, because we are always changing timelines. We create the next positive timeline. You each have one, I have one, and then we have an overarching timeline in which we sit. I love the movie yesterday where they had blind compliance. Oh God, yeah, blind compliance. You just do this, right? The movie yesterday where John Lennon actually was still alive. Timelines. So with that, in any possible timeline that we're on, we as a group, as our little band of happy light workers, I was going to say thieves just because it's fun, the rebels, we have this potential as a group to create the timeline that we desire. So when we visualize, we want to visualize what? How do you want to see things? I'm going to throw some things out at you for you to think about, and I'll explain what I mean. For our future, when we open that door, and the Arcturian said it very gracefully in what I'm going to share with you in just a little bit about how to visualize. I'm always into visualizing, and I loved it. Sheila, you would recommend us doing visualization. You have to, don't let me forget. You might need to remind me again, because I get going and just have to remind me. Is that, think about what do we desire? How do we want a government to look? Do we even want a government? Do we want boundaries? Do we want countries? Do we want traditions? Of course, of course. But you see what I'm saying? I want you to be specific. Associate a random and a unique visualization with a high vibe emotion. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great trick. Thank you for that. I love that. Totally agree with that. What kind of economy do you want? What kind of an environment do you want to have around you? Not only just in your space, but how do we want to see the earth? How do we want to work with it? Social graces, laws, spirituality, freedoms. Mental memory focus like Pavlov. It's true. It's absolutely true. I agree with that. So that's what I want you to focus on, because we are at this juncture right now, this very second, of creating the future that we desire. So we as a group can start creating, and the more we interact with one another and how, and it doesn't even have to be verbally, we can interact in the intuitive realms, in the psychic realms where we're connecting. So this is my invitation, and then I'll read this to you, is, and I just wrote it, I don't remember exactly what I wrote, but I do remember this piece of it, is that, and then you'll hear it again, but it's really good. Imagine, okay, Sheila and Sam and Richard, and on, everybody in the group, Yelena, and I know that Kevin's out there, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we're visualizing what it is that we desire. Now imagine that, and I'll put Sheila here, and I'll put Sam here, and that the energetic frequencies we just touch, we touch shoulders, our energetic, and so we are connecting as a grid. And then Richard in New Zealand, we're touching him, we're connecting with him, and we go to Tina in Ontario, and we're connecting by touching our frequencies through our mind thoughts with the visions that we're holding, because I would suspect that our visualizations of what we desire for this future, for the earth, for this timeline, is probably pretty comparable, pretty much in alignment. So if we start visualizing on a daily basis what it is that we are creating in our thoughts, in our minds, and then visualize connecting with our friends through ley lines, healing them, and us, exactly, and do it through the earth. But we've talked about this reaching hands. We'll do it one more time now with the visualization of where we're going and what we are desiring as a collective. And the more that we do this on a weekly basis, the more we will actualize our future. Yeah, we are the ley lines. That's beautiful. I like that. That is absolutely true. We are the connectors. We are like the nervous system in our bodies, where they all are connected, right? Or the bloodlines, the arteries, they're all connected. We are the connection. So visualize, and I'm going to reach out from Sheila to Christy to, on to Sam, and just keep connecting this positive energy and what it is that we desire for ourselves, for our kids, our grandkids, our great-grandkids, our animals, on and on. So that is the invitation. I really want you to think about this. Now, along those lines too, I have done this a lot in my classes, and it's been really a fun exercise. So like Tracy, if she's still here with us, she knows this exercise because it's just fun. And that is, if we all happen to have, and I'll just come up with a random number, 10 million. I'm writing you out a check right now for 10 million, and I'm giving it to each of you. Okay, it's got your name on it, signed the universe, and you each get 10 million. And this could actually happen in this new quantum Gasara Nasara program. It may not be 10 million, but we could have quite a bit of money, actually. So imagine right now how you feel having 10 million in the bank. And what would you do in your life, and what would you do differently in your life with that in your bank account? What would it change? Would it change how you feel about yourself? Would it change what you do? This exercise really helps you to clear out the things that you don't want to do. Yeah, cosmic atonement, exactly. What you want in your life and what you don't want. Because I would suspect most of us don't necessarily need, the 10,000 square foot home. That doesn't do it for me. Maybe it does for you. But think about, what would you do with that in your bank account? How would your life change? So think about it, feel it, taste it, touch it. Imagine writing out checks with that. Imagine using your credit card saying, this is what I really want to do. Maybe you want to create a center to help others. Maybe you want to set up an animal sanctuary. Think about all the things that you would want to do with that money. Because again, what it does is it really helps you hone in on what is most important in your life. And what isn't important in your life. Ironically, you would think that you would just become overly excessive, but in truth, it actually helps hone in on your path that you want to do, and then you recognize that you have the tools right now to start it without the 10 million. But it's a great exercise to play around with in your head. So that's another invitation. Okay, so we're going to visualize our alignment. We're going to be using our oils. We are going to be connecting from our energy space to all those who are in this group. We are connecting out that energy so that we're connecting this grid around the planet of love and light, and literally moving us up into that higher dimensional plane in that fourth and fifth dimension, which is really good. It's in that inner wisdom, that inner light, knowing that when we're shining that's when we change the world. To me, that's really exciting. So let's go into some Arcturian information tonight. Okay. And then this is just how I start. If you're okay with this, I'm just going to share just because it's kind of fun. I love sharing this. I'm so excited because otherwise I sit with it by myself and it's not as much fun. So anyway, I have to share, this is me, in my communications, as it feels like a big happy reunion when I'm talking with them. A happy fairy tale of an old sci-fi journey of the future, all encapsulated in the now. It's exhilarating. Their response. We too feel the camaraderie as we know and can feel the DNA strand connection. There are two here aboard that were part of the original ship eons ago, millions of years ago, that helped start the human race. I happen to be on that ship. You'd think I'd learn, right? I'm still here. Sorry, segue. The reptilians were already in full speed ahead on Gaia at that time and worked hard to maintain their dominance. However, love and a cosmic event helped shift that trajectory. 65 million years ago, right, we happen to have that. I think it was actually an intentional event by the Galactic Council Center to create the solar event that created the extinction of the reptilians. However, there was a group that stuck around. Okay, full speed ahead on Gaia at that time and worked hard to maintain their dominance. However, love and a cosmic event helped shift. Their DNA plus their presence under their planet have held sway for far too long, because their DNA has been embedded into ours. And they do live under the earth, have held sway for far too long. Eventually, they went underground to retain their stranglehold. Outwardly, humans have been unaware and or have turned over their allegiance to them as gods and demigods. Those through reincarnational cycles enjoyed the power that came through these allegiances and alliances and bloodlines as the reptilians intermarried thousands of years ago into the human population, as well as spliced their cells into the human genome. Their presence has been always visible, yet not outwardly to those unaware. It has taken thousands of years and hundreds of reincarnational cycles for humans to begin to see the truths of their enslavement. This goes into religions as well. Many today are still unaware. The best thing each can do is send love and visualize in detail the world they desire down to the last detail. Here's the word desire. Interesting. It is a colorful exercise in working within the field of perception, focus, and entanglement. Ask others. Talk about your dreams, their dreams. See and visualize the entanglement of their vision with your own, essentially connecting the energetic grids between you, forming a network, a netting over the earth of creative manifestation. You know, when I liked when they said the word entanglement, because I see us all actually entangled with one another, because essentially we are all one. But it's not a word that I would necessarily go to in my own thinking. Okay, forming a network on everything. I need to put my fingers on this, sorry. Dream on everything. Be bold, colorful, expansive. Do not limit yourselves, as now is the time to literally become your limitless potential. We've all held ourselves back, guys. We have. That's what I'm saying. Visualize that you have 10 million in the bank. What would you do differently? And start planning on that every single day. Be limitless. Draw upon you all that you are. Be the giant, great magician. See your grid filling up on every intersecting knot with light. So imagine, again, the grid, right, like a webbing, and see that filling every intersecting knot with light. I like that. I mean, every light, every knot is a light, bold light, the light of other souls. Expand the light to shine brightly around the planet. This will amp up and quicken the ability of this to become your now. We desire this for you as much as you do, as like we have mentioned, what happens here impacts not only our species and civilization, it also impacts our planet's future. Everything is interconnected. Imagine every point of intersection on that grid as a point or portal into another time frame, dimension, landscape, planet, being of expression. It is endless, the universe. Our existence is continually expanding. To keep it expanding in the positive polarity is why we felt it necessary to be here at this time. So imagine this, our grids, the grids that we are connecting, all of us, right? And each of those intersecting knots as a light, a portal of lifetimes, of dimensions, of planetary systems, of universes, every one of them. I mean, when you think about it, it's almost too much for our little brains to wrap around. But when we do that, then you realize how incredibly powerful we really are. We know for all intensive purposes, the now present and future present look somewhat bleak to you. We are here to share that it is not your intersecting knot on the grid. That's not our knot. That's not our portal. That may be some that have been shamers and blamers out there. That may be their intersecting knot, but that's not ours. Your grid is moving into the golden future. The key to acceleration of that timeline is to know that you are on that beam of light, that timeline portal now. The doorway is literally opening up as we speak for a good portion of humanity to walk through. Now is the time to see the opening. Imagine a large carved doorway opening with a beautiful vista. This is another thing I really want you to focus on, that doorway. And you can visualize your door. You could probably, all of you right now, can see your particular doorway. It could be carved. It could have an old ancient handle. It could have wrought iron on it. It could have gems embedded into the wood, or it could be steel, or it could be whatever kind of material. You can see your doorway, your portal. Okay, I want you to visualize it. Start really thinking about this. This is a great, because Sheila suggested a visualization or a meditation. This is a good way to do it. Visualize that doorway opening up, and we can play with that too. Okay. Carved doorway opening with beautiful vista. That is your focus. Forget the rest. Okay. So imagine just the lintel around the doorway. Just focus on that. All this other nonsense, let it go. Don't focus on it. No. Put your family and friends there, but you see what I'm saying. It is only a side spin outside. A side spin. I thought that was an interesting choice of words. Something to take you off of your mark. Something the reptilians are remarkable at. That's what's happening. They are so good at taking us off our targets. Because when we do, we get frustrated, we become angry, we become sad, we become shamers, filters, you name it, right? When we do that, then they soak that energy up because that's your fuel. So that's why it's so important to be on our beam of light at this intersecting knot of light, okay? And humans, quite honestly, are easy to distract. Really? Wow, you think? Knowing that should encourage you to be more diligent with mindfulness and bright shiny objects. A little humor, yes, because it's true. Shiny object there, and because of the internet, think about this. Our attention spans have shrunk down to this because we can get so much information in short snippets of time. To sit down with big information, long information, becomes taxing. It's like, oh my God, I have to read 10 pages? Seriously? Oh, this is ridiculous. I want it in 3 paragraphs. So you want it down in bite-sized snippets. And so because of that bright, shiny objects, we are taken. So it's really important when we start doing that is to come back to focus into our mindfulness on what it is on that doorway, that vista on the other side. You all have much to do with the cleanup. That means every one of you right here, that's why we are connected. We are part of this cleanup because we are in the tsunami right now and there's going to be a lot of debris that needs to be cleaned up, okay? To do with the cleanup that is awaiting, even though the vista currently through your portal is beautiful, when gazing more clearly, you will see the overlaying energy grid. This is just really cool information, guys. I'd forgotten this. You will see the overlaying energy grid in need of cleanup, okay? So this is really important for all of us, okay? The energy cleanup. Another reason days seem short. Absolutely. It's true. It's just true. So, okay, imagine this grid. And then we're on the grid, and on that portal, we open the door, and we see this beautiful vista. And then we put on our super glasses. Then you start to see the film that needs to be cleaned up. That's where every one of you come in. And the people in your lives need to be part of this as well. Now, this is where it gets really cool, okay? Okay, when humans have cleaned up this energy, this gunky, these are my words, the gunky energy, the dark, all that stuff. When humans have cleaned up this energy grid of negativity and dark alliances, it makes way for the free energy of the future. This is right around the corner for you, literally in the next several years. It may take till 2030 to normalize and finalize the changeover. However, it's already in the making. So imagine this. Think about this. It's always about timing. If you go back, there was a movie made back, 90s, 80s, 90s, 2000, somewhere, about the death of the electric car. Every time somebody has tried to put out free energy, gasolines that can run, cars that can run on water, can run on propane, all these different things, they have created different things of low energy impact, and yet every time something has, big tech, big alliance, or the dark alliance has taken them down, the cabal has taken them down. Well, what if, imagine this, the reason that it hasn't happened is because we had too much of this dark energy left on the planet. We were not allowing ourselves, can't blame them, we weren't allowing ourselves because we hadn't done the work. We hadn't cleaned it up yet. And that means cleaning up our own space and helping those around us clear up that negativity, and you just keep spreading that. And when we clean up that energetic grid, free energy then will become available. Because why? Because it's all about the energy around everything. Is that just not the coolest thing? It's like, oh my God, of course. Because on a certain level throughout the years, well, gee, Tesla had it, and then all these people did the electric cars and blah, 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 solar cars, and they've gone away and gone away and gone away. And then when you look at it in terms of our own self-responsibility, changes everything. So cool. So that's our job, folks. We got to clean this up. Okay. Normative changeover. Okay. Free energy for all. The emotional, mental, and physical cleanup of the world is the imperative link to make that happen. And then parentheses, it says, I know, you're wondering why you hadn't put that one together before. So simple, right? It's true. My mind over here was doing, God, why didn't I figure that one out? So anyway, it's going to take concerted effort from everyone. Many in your crew, meaning you guys, because I knew I was writing this before I came on, many in your crew are part of this cleanup, whether it's from the angle of volunteering and being of service to literally doing physical cleanup of the environment. Everyone will be called, every one of you, and the people around you are going to be called as well. Remember, everyone chose to be here right now, how to really step up into their being, all that they are capable. Helping others and the planet is one of the fastest, I love this, fastest karma erasers going. Not to mention, it feels good internally. Everyone is being called to action. No one is exempt, okay? So, okay, I take an oath, right? We all have to be oath keepers right now. Really, I take an oath. I take a pledge to take action, right? And if you recall, a year ago, I think it was General Flynn put it out there to the oath keepers, I pledge allegiance, you know, and they basically said, I do. And that's what this is. Only this is not just in terms of being on, you know, first responders in terms of guns. That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about first responders in terms of spiritually making a difference on the planet. You're not exempt. This is reclaiming you by doing this. This is reclaiming you. This is neutralizing karma from lifetimes. So exciting. Sovereignty, your personal powers, and your divine innate intelligence. By doing this, you're bringing all that back into who you are. I don't know about you, but that's really, really exciting. We have to admit, we have totally enjoyed picking up the frequency waves with your various, oh, this is something different, musicians from Vivaldi to Mozart to Bach to the classic rock. We have been playing the various movement scores and songs throughout our lightship, and it has everyone happy dancing. Again, we are emitting these frequencies to push up the awakening, the feel good, positively awake, and to the feel of positively awake and aware to humanity's masses. I think I screwed up on I'm writing with a pen, so jump over that. You get the idea. The acceleration cannot, and we emphasize cannot, be stopped. Yes. Underneath it, all people want to wake up. That's the best part. When you recognize that even these people that are so asleep, underneath they really do want to wake up. You just want to go over and bitch slap them and say, could you just pour a bunch of water on you, wake up? I mean, that's kind of how I feel sometimes. That's where my frustration comes in. Maybe, Yelena, where your anger comes in, and right? You want to wake them up. I love this though. It cannot be stopped. Underneath it, all people want to wake up. They're done with the repeat, reload concept. Reincarnational cycle, reincarnational cycle, reincarnational cycle, until we choose it because we desire it and not be stuck in a loop, right? We choose to come back. I'm not saying that. However, if we choose because we are expanding, we're not stuck in the darker, shadier emotions, how exciting. Just keep sharing to help clear the fog, the amnesia of who they truly are. And then it says, beam your focus laser sharp on that portal and beyond in the joy of creation. And that was the final. So feedback, I'd love any feedback, but I thought that was pretty fabulous about the energy, that this cannot be stopped, that we are all part of this, that is your job, my job, to help. So when you open up your portal, that doorway, and you see that, what can you do to help clear that energy? Okay, here's how you do it. And you can close your eyes if you want to visualize this. Open up your door, relax, open up the door, and you see your vista. And you can see mountains, or you can see the oceans, or palm trees, or pine trees, or rocks, and mesas, however you want to see your portal. And then if you have your house there, or however you want to be in that space, maybe it's just in a natural setting. But as you look out, you see this gray energy that kind of overlays. Now that is an overlay of emotional frequencies of the lower dimensional vibrations from various time frames, various dimensions, your own energy field within that. And what you can do is a multitude of things. One, you can have a magic wand. You can send that light beam, a light laser, your crystal ball, you can, whatever you want, a rope, whatever you visualize and see that gray. It's just kind of overhanging, and just zap it until it's cleaned up. No wonder you've been cleaning house. Exactly. Perfect. So start visualizing that in your home and then in this portal and anything, so that you do this so much so that when you see that, and your grid, your intersection is right next to mine, right next to all of us around the world. And when we start doing this, we clear this off and we get to the edges to where the next person is. They're clearing those. We are literally helping to clear the grid around the planet. We don't need to have 1 million people. We don't need to have 8 billion people. We just need us to do this. And the more you do it until when you look out that door, that portal, you see it completely with bright blue skies and beautiful flowers, and the imagery so brilliant in your mind, there's no gray filtering over things. Happy purification, exactly. And then you can always use your lemongrass, because that's purification, right? Lemongrass, you can set your portal with lemongrass because it literally helps clear things out. So here's another thing. When you're on that, make sure when you start visualizing in a place of always, so we talked about this at the beginning, that visualization of your alignment so that you're within your boundary of light, so you're not bringing in any negative forces, energetic, lower dimensional frequencies, vibrations, emotions into your space. You don't need any of the shamers or blamers or anger or whatever. You just want to stay in that space, and then keep clearing, and clear it, of course, all the way around you through that portal. And then what I would love to do, okay, today is the 15th of February. Let's do this, and then check back in with me in a week, and then keep going with this, and then see where you are and see how things have shifted. If you feel lighter, brighter, if people in your lives are responding differently, if your community is starting to shift, if your county, your state is starting to shift, if New Zealand and America are connecting, those kinds of energetic feelings. That is my invitation to all of you, because we are a fabulous little group of light workers, and there's no reason that we as a group can't make things happen and notice things. I've done this in different classes where we've put our focus on things, and then immediately the next day, literally, I'm not making this up, things show up in the news that reflect back to what we had been working on. That's how powerful we can be if we just do it. So that's my invitation. I want to thank all of you. Love you all. Thank you for being with me tonight. I really appreciate it. I do, because I really feel that we are all very important at this point in time. That's why we've all come together. So I send you all love and light. Thank you. And hopefully, Sheila, that answers your request for visualization. I kind of halfway did it, but hopefully enough. So with that, I bid you adieu, not send you adieu. I bid you adieu, and lots of love and light. Happy thoughts, focus, projections, and engagement for this week, okay? You can always text me with information. Big thanks, you're activated. Perfect, I love it. Activation is huge. Love you all. Night.